Hi and welcome to the Wing Knitting podcast. My name is Emily and I'll be sharing my knitting projects with you today. So I'm from the northeast of England and today I have 3 whips to go through. I don't have any finished items. I was hoping that I would have had one finished item, but we've had some snags. So let's get started with what I'm wearing. This is a self-drafted Peplum top that I made on the Central knitting machine. I used Sirdar Saltaire in the colour Mole. Unfortunately, this yarn has been discontinued. I do love it for the Central knitting machine. It has that beautiful haze to the fabric with the alpaca content. It's 55% acrylic, 25% nylon, and 20% alpaca. And I think the alpaca just adds that bit of fluff that any seams that you have are quite invisible. So I'll just stand up to show you. So this is Peplum top, and you can see I've got a lot of seams here. So there's a seam here, here, and all around the back. But I don't think you can see the seams because of the nice haze from the fabric. However, I feel like maybe the reason Sirdar have discontinued this yarn is because it pills very, very badly. So I think this is just the alpaca all coming to the surface. Yeah, but to be honest, I still quite like it. It actually looks worse on camera than it does in person. In person, it just looks fluffy and fuzzy. But yeah, you can't buy this yarn anymore. I think you can still get it on things like eBay and maybe Etsy, but you can't buy it on Wool Warehouse or even direct from Sirdar anymore, which is sad. But yes, so I do like this. The only thing that maybe I don't like is that when I did the button band, I think I got the pickup rate wrong. So it does pull up a little bit. But that doesn't stop me wearing it. I'm not really sure I can be bothered to unpick all of this and redo the button band for that. I still wear it. I still like it. It's a lovely fabric. You would think it would be actually really warm, but it's not. I think because it is knitted a slightly looser gauge, it's not see-through, so I can get away with wearing just a bra underneath it, but it is light enough that it's breezy. So I find that it's quite nice for my office, which can get quite warm, but I don't struggle in this, which is nice. Okay, so I do have a video on this, which I'll link in the cards and in the description if you want to see in depth how I made this on my knitting machine. But let's move on to the first whip. Okay, so my first whip is the Habitat Cardigan by Drops. This is a free pattern, as all Drops patterns are, and this is it right here. So I was knitting the cardigan as a coat. It is a bulky weight pattern, but I was using an Aran held with another Aran. So I'm holding Woolcraft Aran in black with Drops alpaca boucle to give this sort of, I wanted the look of like a brushed wool. So I wanted it to look more like fabric than knit, which I think I've achieved quite well. So I think the last time when I was updating you, knitted the back and then one of the fronts. As you can see from now, I've finished the other front and I've also knit a bit of a sleeve. So yeah, this has been stalled for a few weeks because when I started knitting the sleeve, this is actually attempt number 2 at the sleeve, it was absolutely massive. So it would be like this in my arm and like the sleeve would be like out here. It was utterly ridiculous. So I was like, oh my God, what's going on there? So I thought I would pin it all together and see what the fit is like, which I'll show you in a moment. But then I decided to unpick the sleeve, and this is actually the smallest size. And I still think it's quite a baggy sleeve. And this is the smallest size, but yeah. I think I'm quite happy with this. I feel like you could still get a nice thick jumper underneath there, and it is nice and soft. It's next to skin, so even if I didn't want to wear anything underneath it, it'll be fine. I am going to be knitting it from knuckles upwards, so I'll see how many repeats I've got. So every time I do an increase, I'm just adding, you can see those stitch markers. So I've done 2 increases, and I think I do 8 or 6, I can't remember, and we'll see how far I get up to. I am going to deviate from the pattern quite heavily for the sleeve, because I'll insert a picture of how they have the sleeve, and I don't understand how that tiny little bit of like 8 rows is going to go from here to here. I just don't understand how that's going to work. What I think is probably going to happen is it's not, and I'm going to get, so I think this is the sleeve. I think the sleeve is going to be tilted like that. So you're going to have your hand out and it's going to be tilted, which I don't want. I want my sleeve to drop like that. So I'm going to knit up to here, and then I'm just going to, so I am actually knitting this in the round as well. Sorry, I feel this is so chaotic. It's been a while since I did a podcast. Yeah, so I'm knitting this in the round, whereas the pattern says to knit flat. So I just removed 1 stitch, so that, because you've got 1 stitch for seaming, so I just removed 1 stitch and knit in the round instead. So I'm going to carry on knitting until I get up to my armpit, and then I'm going to start knitting flat with decreases until I get up to the shoulder, and I'll probably to like about that wide on the shoulder. I'll just wing it, as is the name of this podcast, and I think that'll be a better fitting sleeve. And then because I'm sewing it, it doesn't really matter if it doesn't fit stitch for stitch. I can just ease it in to the armhole just to make it fit. So that's the sleeve solved. But for the body, for this, I want to make a lot of modifications. So I'm probably going to cut to me actually in a different camera angle, trying this on, so I can talk you through exactly what the problems are, rather than me just holding this and telling you. I think it'd be easier to show what modifications I want to make to this. Okay, so this is the Lilac Cardigan. It's actually quite hard to get it all in frame. But I think it's quite obvious what the problem is. Yeah, so I tried this on, and my husband said it looked like a rug, which upset me for a couple of days, I think. But then I think the reason that he said it looks like a rug is because it's so thick and big and chunky. I think if it was a bit more fitted, it wouldn't look like I'd just thrown a rug on. So I think this needs a lot of work. So I think the back is okay. And this is actually one of the good things about knitting new pieces. I think the back is okay. The back is fine. So I think I can leave the back as is. It's the front pieces where I can actually nearly wrap it all the way around myself. So it's too big, far too big. And actually, when I look at the photos on Drops, she is actually wrapping it around like that. So I don't know if that's how it's meant to fit, but I hate it. It's too big, and I want to actually button it, but I think it's going to actually be really drafty if I was to button this. So yeah, you can see how much it's actually coming off my body. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is, I think, so what I did on the second side, because I forgot to do the pockets on the first side, but I remember to do it on the second side, so secret hidden pocket in there. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to rip all of this back to the pocket, and then I'm going to do some row of rapid decreases, then knit straight for a bit, and possibly do some increases just to give it a bit more shaping. I think the armhole is also too big. I think there's too many stitches cast on in the underside here, so pull that back to where I need it to. And I think it's only half the amount of stitches. I think this is possibly too wide as well. Also, I feel like if it was actually sitting like that, Don't know if I would need some bust darts in here. We start gaping here, whereas I think if that was... Actually, I think if I just did a bust dart, I wouldn't actually need to do any decreases here. I think it is actually just, it's too long. So yeah, actually I think I'll put stitch markers in here and here, and I'll see how many rows that is, and then I'll do bust darts for that. And I think that'll fix the armhole. And I want the neckline of the coat. It's so low. Why is it so low? This is going to be so cold. So I'm actually going to start the neckline up here. So I'm actually wondering if it did actually just take out the shoulder, would that be easier? I think maybe that would actually be easier, wouldn't it? If I put the neckline up to here, kept the decreases, and then maybe did a bit of a slant. Would that work? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do lots of pinning of the pieces together, which again, because they're knitting pieces, that makes it so much easier. See what I want to do. But yes, definitely going to be doing some decreases and getting straight. Yeah, and then at least this can all remain in the pocket, can remain, and I'll just put it back here. And then at least then it'll give me a bit more room for walking. Good. And then what I have seen was I've seen an inspiration photo, which I'll put up here, which has like a bit of a waist detail. So I'm wondering if that might also help make it look a bit more like a coat. I think obviously black buttons will make it look more like a coat, but then I do think that waist piece will look okay. And I think I was worried about yarn chicken, but I think once I do decreases and then take out a lot of this, I'm going to get a lot of yarn back. Because I'm knitting the sleeves in the smallest size, I think I'm going to take less yarn. So I think I'll actually be alright, but I will have that ball. Have a little ball of merino, but I've ordered it in black. So if I did need any extra yarn, I should be able to just substitute it in. Yeah. And then I think, so once I've done this side, I'll experiment with it, see how it fits, and actually try it on properly before I do anything to this side. But I think this side, I'll rip it all the way back to the same point, but then I'll drop down and put the pocket in. So then I will have 2 pockets in the coat. And then I'll just knit the pocket line in out of some scrap yarn. I don't think you're going to be able to see through it, so anything I've got out of that. But yeah, so I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about. I don't know. You think it looks like a rogue? Don't worry about hurting my feelings. Just tell me honestly, what do you think? And does it look so ugly because it doesn't fit, or is it actually ugly? What's that look? It's lovely and soft. You can mostly feel the alpaca boucle. You can see on the edges. It's very fuzzy. So yeah, opinions please. But I've been waiting to film this, so that I can unpick all of this. So I think once I've finished filming, I will make a cup of tea and yeah, rip this all back. Right, and the next project that I want to talk to you about is in my lovely sheep project bag, which is my lilac sweater. So this is a cardigan that's been on the needles for a very, very long time. And what I mentioned in my 2026 plans was I'm fine for this to take me all year. It is my first 4-ply project, and it is also self-drafted. So this is what I'm calling the Lilac Cardigan, because I have zero imagination. Yeah, but it has the cable going all the way around the neckline, and it was just something that I hadn't seen in many designs, and I wanted to see if it was possible to get the cable to go all the way up the button band, around the back of the neck and back around, and actually it wasn't that difficult to make that a reality. So I'm just making this up as I go, keep trying it on to make sure I get the perfect fit. And this is another Sirdar yarn. This is Country Classic 4-ply in Lilac. So yeah, it's been very slow going. There's been a lot of knitting it, trying it on, ripping it back, knitting it again. But I'm having fun. It's a nice, slow project, and I feel no pressure to get this done. Don't get me wrong. I think this would be lovely to wear in spring, but it's not going to happen. So I'm not going to rush through. But I have made quite a lot of progress. So I did put in a progress marker last time. So that's where I was last time we spoke. And I've actually knitted quite a lot. So I've been trying to do a row a day. I'm not sure if I managed that. Let me count. I've done 26 rows, and I think it's been a month since my last podcast, maybe even longer. So I haven't managed to do a row every day, but I still think 26 rows is quite good. So I'm happy with that. I'm almost at the point where I'm going to split for sleeves. So I was supposed to already be at the point where I was going to split for sleeves when I have written up a sort of recipe that I'm following. And I was already supposed to be at the point, so I think I've got a marker on the back here for when I was supposed to split for sleeves. But then when I tried it on, it just wasn't deep enough. So I decided to do an additional 3 centimeters. So I'm going 3 centimeters from this marker. Then I'll try it on again and see. But I've increased as much as I need to. So the increases are all done. It fits me circumference-wise. But length-wise, it's not where I need to be. So what I'm doing now is I'm just knitting straight. So we've got increases coming down here, and then I'll have it knit straight. So I don't know if it's going to look weird, but to be honest, where it is going to look weird, it's going to be here. Nobody's going to be looking that close. And if they are, it's probably because I'm telling them about it. So yeah, I think it's fine. But what I might do is I'm not planning on writing this up. I'm just sort of following a sort of pattern. So if I do want to make something 4-ply in the future, I'll have how many stitches to count on, how many centimeters to knit down. So I think what I would prefer is that I extended this straight part to be a little bit longer, and then the shaping goes right into the armhole, rather than me coming down a little bit, shaping, and then having to go straight. So yeah, I think this straight bit needs to be longer. So I think I'll edit my pattern just so I know that. I can't remember how long. I think I said to knit straight for maybe 5 centimeters. And maybe I should have done 8. So I'll measure that and then add whatever I knit to past this point to knit for next time. But yeah, it's coming up nice. I'll insert some B-roll so you can see how it's fitting. Another thing that I'm trying to do with the design is for the cable that's coming down the front here. What I would like is to have a full increase. So, and if I was actually following my increase pattern, I think I'd only have maybe 4 stitches into the next column. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extend to do a full column. So it's going to be slightly baggier, but like by an inch. And I don't think having an extra inch room in the front is going to hurt me at all. But something I can't decide on is, do I want buttons? I'm thinking if I want to have buttons, I need to start thinking about putting them in now that I'm coming to the V part where I'm going to start knitting straight. And I think, yeah, I like to have the top button to be where the V neck starts or ends, depending on your perspective. Yeah, so I think time to start buttons. That's a mental note for myself, buttonholes. I'll have a little look at some tutorials, but what I'm thinking is I'll just do a yarn over and knit 2 together. That should create a buttonhole, right? I'll see what size buttons I want as well. I think some wooden buttons. What colour buttons would you put with this? I think wooden ones would have to be. White ones, I'm trying to not limit what I could wear the cardigan with. Yeah, I think wooden buttons would probably give me the most options. If you have any other suggestions, please put them in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. So that is my lilac cardigan. Not much progress, but that's fine. Progress is progress. Okay. And the last project I'm going to talk about is a very exciting one, and you'll be able to tell by all of the progress that I've made. And this is just in a canvas tote that I got at a conference I went to a very long time ago. And this is my Mira Sweater. So I'll pop the inspiration photo up here. And in my last podcast, or was it my 2026 plans, I showed that I tried lots of different variations of this sort of stitch pattern, but I just didn't like them. They look fine in a cartoon, but in real life, there wasn't enough definition for me. So I toyed with the Minto pattern. Yes, I can't remember who designed that, but I'm not using that pattern. I'm just using it as inspiration. This is what we have. Oh, look at it. I am so happy with this. It is just, it's beautiful, and the yarn has softened up. So I was worried about the yarn when I was swatching with it, but the more I've handled it, put it in and out of the bag, it's softened up lovely. Feels lovely. You can really feel the silk. So this is King Cole Finesse in white. And this is a self-drafted pattern that I'm making up as I go, but I am sort of using the numbers from the Rosy cardigan. So I'm using those. And the main reason I'm doing that is because when I knit my Rosy cardigan, my back short rows looked really bad because I normally do a backward loop cast on. And the Rosy Sweater gets you to do the short rows straight into the cast on edge, and it looked so messy. So I wanted to check whether it was the cast on, and it was. So for the very first time, I did the long tail cast on. I like it. I really like it. When you have a lot of stitches on the needle, the backwards loop cast on, which is the one I usually do, it can sometimes unravel itself or twist itself, and you're not quite sure where the edge stitch is. But backwards loop was slightly more complex to do. I found a tutorial where she did it with a thumb method, and that made so much more sense to my brain. I'll link it down below, and I'll put the thumbnail up here so you can know which video I'm talking about. Fantastic tutorial. I nailed it first time, and I'm probably going to use that cast on a lot. Yeah, so absolutely loved the long tail cast on, and as you can see, the short rows are perfect. So yes, if you are doing the Rosy Sweater, I recommend long tail cast on, and I actually did knit a row first as well, and then I started the Rosy pattern as described, and they're perfect. When it came to the short rows on the front section, I ended up having to do it twice. I'll insert a clip here that I filmed at the time because I knew I would forget that I did this, so I'll insert that clip now. So this was attempt one at the front panel, and I quite like the joining. I think it looks good, and the cables look nice and continuous, but I'm not enjoying this increasing. It looks a bit weird, and I think it would be difficult to pick up the neckband from this. So I'm happy with how the short rows turned out, and that I can do the cabling continuous, but let's pull this out and then rethink how to do this. Yeah, so as you can see, the neckline is looking lovely. I haven't picked up for the neckline yet. I am going to do it in the orange yarn, matching the inspiration photo. but I do want to wait until I've got a bit more weight on this, because what I did find, again, when I was knitting the rosy sweater, was that I found the neckline was really high, but then because this is cotton, and I used the same yarn but in English rose to knit my rosy sweater, that it has actually stretched down and pulled down. So I want to get a bit more weight on this so then I can decide how wide I want to knit the neckline. Yeah. And whether I'm going to do a folded one, I'm unsure. I'm definitely going to do folded cuffs, because I think that'll give it a bit more of a sweatshirty look. I'm not sure if I want to do that on the neckline. I'll have to decide. And I must remember to do the stripes. So that was something I wanted your opinion on as well. So as I get down, I'm going to do the stripes. And as you can see from the inspiration photo, it looks like the stripes, the orange striped sections on the sleeve, don't have the cables. What do you think? Should I not do the cables for the orange stripes, or should I continue in pattern? I'm tempted to continue in pattern just because I'm scared about gauge and like tension issues if I was to do this in just normal stockinette. But then I'm deviating quite heavily from the inspiration. I don't know. Thoughts, ideas, what do you think? Would you do the stripes in, it's my tumble dryer beeping if you can hear it. Would you do the stripes in pattern, or would you do them not in pattern? I don't know. Okay, so this is the pattern. So I am following the numbers from the Mira rosy sweater, brain fog. So I should hopefully get the same fit as the last one. So I'm going to be doing all of the modifications that I made to my rosy sweater, which include the bust darts, waist shaping. I am going to cast on less stitches in the underarm. When I get to the underarm, obviously I'm going to see where I'm at in the pattern. As you can see, we've got the increases coming here. So I'll see where I am in the pattern, and obviously just knit on as many stitches as I need for it to be continuous and look good. So I'm hoping that the pattern lines up, but as I'm winging it, when I get there, I'll solve it when I get there. Well, I'll figure it out when I get to casting on. I think I've only got maybe 3 more rows to the underarm. Can I put this on over it? Hopefully that's okay sound-wise. Yeah, so I think I'm very close to there, and I've got to think it's going to stretch. So yeah, I think maybe 3 more rows, and then I'll do the underarm cast on. So yes, so I'm following the numbers for the rosy pattern. And as for the cable design, I'm following just a chart that I found on Pinterest. And what I've done is I've just put that on my phone. So I have my pattern. Let me just grab it. So this is my written up, simplified version of the rosy pattern with all of my own modifications in there. And I'm just ticking off rows as I go. As I said, it's quite heavily modified from the rosy pattern. So this is my it's going to be my dropped shoulder pattern. But then for the cables, I have a photograph in my photos, and what I'm doing is I'm just going into the markup tools and just highlighting off each cable row. But I have to admit, now that I'm like this far, I tend to not actually have to reference the cable chart. I've got it memorized. It's like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So it's pretty easy to memorize, and I can read my knitting and see where I am, which are the kind of patterns that I like, where I can just read my knitting and see what I have to do, rather than having to reference anything. And I find that when it's a pattern that's come from my own brain, I find that much easier to follow my own logic than trying to interpret somebody else's logic. So this is my last project that I'm working on, so I think it's going to be quite a quick podcast. I did have quite a few acquisitions. Let me just take this off. So I have got quite a few acquisitions. I've bought 3 different yarns to try for the salmon top. So I think I have the Yarnsmith's Merino, and I bought that in black just in case I did need any yarn to top up for the Habitat sweater. That I can just substitute that in because it's an Aran yarn in black, should be okay. But then I can also swatch it for the salmon sweater. I've also bought on the screen, I think it's Style Crafts Pastels, something like that. Which if I do decide to go with this, I'm not going to buy it from Wool Warehouse because theirs is actually more expensive than it is elsewhere. But I just added one ball onto this order just so I can test it out. And then I have ordered another yarn to test, which I can't remember. Oh, Drops Paris. So I have ordered a ball of Drops Paris. I was going to order that in black as well because I thought instead of having loads of one balls of yarn, I'm going to start buying yarns in black, because then at least if I have lots of odd balls of black yarn, hopefully they're all sort of the same black, and then I can combine them to knit a hat or a scarf or something and it'll be relatively black. But I've seen this colour and it's just, oh, it's so pretty. So yeah, so I'm going to swatch up all three of those, wash them, block them, and then see which one I want to use for the salmon, and then make another order to order everything. But the main point of this order was to order the Drops Air that I need for my grid sweater, which I'm just calling my grid sweater. And that's a sweater that I'm going to make on the Central Knitting Machine. I'll put a photo up of the inspiration here, and this is another plan from my 2026 project video. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to do the swatches because I think that's fine. But I'm going to wait to cast on anything until I've finished at least something. So I'm hoping that once I've got the Habitat cardigan all done, that should be a pretty quick thing to finish because it's bulky, so it should be done pretty quickly. And once I have a plan, then I can just whiz right through with that and get that finished. And it's probably going to be too warm to wear it as a coat, but it's fine. It can stay in my wardrobe and it can be worn when autumn comes around or winter comes around again. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, so I was hoping to have those acquisitions to show you. Unfortunately, every lost my Wool Warehouse parcel, or they've returned it to Wool Warehouse damaged or something like that. So I got an email from Wool Warehouse saying they're shipping out a replacement, but it's not going to be here for another couple of days, and I've already delayed filming for a couple of days waiting for it. So I've just filmed. If it comes in before I've edited and released this video, I will insert footage of the yarns, so you can have a look at them all. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a comment and a like. Give it a hype if you feel inclined, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.